DJ will kick the floor in 3, 2, 1.
On the troll.
Yeah, but we have to do it all over again. Yeah, so here we go. Mzansi, hello. So it seems as if whatever we predict, we are gonna get it correct. Yes, we have predicted that there will be a delay, and there was a delay, and we're sorry about that. Our internet seemed to be working against us, while we should be the ones who are benefiting from it. Unfortunately, it decided to just switch off, so we had to switch off everything. But we're back again. It seems, Emily, that we have to look at the history of how accused number 3 has become a target, since he has been all over again, become the main person of this case. He was a bit relaxed, but now I got to bamfigel. Why bamfigel?
There's something with accused number 3, in my opinion.
Something worth to look at. Something perhaps we don't know that he is most probably refusing. We don't know what it is. But ayena bamfikele impela bamfikele kakhulu. It's even scary. So he was cuffed without the shields. For those who would like to understand what the shields are, those are the sponges or the protector or the sort of a separator between the skin and the steel that is used to cuff the accused,
especially in winter.
All of a sudden, for some odd reason, some prisoner decided to escape somewhere else,
in another
not in
prison.
Khosimampuru. Then Mr. Koza wakes up the following day and he says, everyone is gonna have to face this winter with those steel sitting direct in your skin. Whether it makes you feel uncomfortable, whether it's inhumane, we do not care. That's where we are going. And the funny thing is, the treatment is different because there are other accused who are in the very same court who were fine. Contrary to what was reported on the newsroom Africa. Wow. I give them. They push the propaganda. Those people.
What is going on? I hear people are complaining about it. I didn't watch.
Wow. Hey, icon.
Spitty.
Let me put it like this. When you are listening to the so-called analysis or summary of some sort, where Olim Lambo, right? Mgambi. Hey, sorry, Mom Lambo. Mgambi sits with this other fella, who normally sits in that court. I'm telling you, when you are listening to them and you have never watched this case, you will not believe us when we talk about this case later on. Never. I can bet you money.
What has he done now?
He has created the situation where it feels like accused number 3 is looking to be treated special. Everyone in that court was actually sitting there without the shields, and everyone was fine with it. He's not mentioning that only accused number 3 and 5 who were actually treated like this. Others had their shields. No, he's not mentioning that. He is talking as if everyone who was sitting in that court actually did not have shields. And accused number 3 was looking for special treatment to such an extent that Oli was asking, he asked him point blank, what is special about accused number 3? Then he had to explain how they had to lift him to court. Wow. If this is not a sample of how propaganda is pushed, I don't know.
Where is he getting his mandate from of reporting? Is he getting it from the station, or is he getting
I don't know.
it from somewhere else?
Maybe someone write the scripts. I don't know. But you can go, if you don't believe me, you can go listen there.
I will
In
watch
my
it
own
after I'm
opinion, it just doesn't make sense. How can a person who sits in that court the whole freaking day can come back and have a certain narrative that seem to sway and go direct to the, and he blames MNISI in the very same. He's saying, like, in a sense, he's saying MNISI was eating it up. This complaint of accused number 3. In a sense, that's how. I have never seen such a situation where, you know, you have to go and revisit what you've just watched, because this is not long proceedings. These are just short proceedings. Revisit, because honestly speaking, that guy would make you believe that a goat was flying.
Well, there has been a interesting pattern when it comes to accused number 3, Mr. Anonymous. Later on, you mentioned it, that there has been some form of a pattern of, one would say, I don't know how to put it without sounding like I know what's going on, even though I don't, but I can recall as early back before De Novo, while accused number 3 was still being represented by Advocate Titi Tobani. Do you guys still remember that? There was a long complaint, a letter where he was expressing how he had been treated since arriving at Koshimampur. In fact, he was transferred from Sun City prison in Johannesburg to Koshimampuru, which is a CMAX prison in Pretoria, and he was complaining about how he was receiving an inhumane treatment in Koshimampuru, things that he was used to getting in Sunnyside, he was no longer getting, and he didn't understand why he had to be moved from that prison to this particular prison, right?
Oh, well, it seems as if it's not going to be so long before he finds his answers, if he hasn't found his answer, because everything in Pretoria, it just doesn't make sense. There is a lot happening that side of Pretoria. So if we're going to need you, you need to be closer, my son. You need to be here where we have a grip. I don't know. I think that's how I look at it, where we can just a phone call away and call people, and just a phone call away, we are able to get to the top echelons of the court, the whole court or the whole region. Pretoria is special. Remember, this case was not even supposed to be in Pretoria, but it is in Pretoria for some weird reasons. And a lot of things are happening that side of Pretoria.
Yeah, a whole complaint was filed with Titi Tobani, and Judge Shipwa Maumel at the time just blue ticked the whole application. I don't think he even took it serious. It was just, ignored. Like, it didn't matter that human rights here were being violated. Even the incarcerated is an accused person, but there's no explanation as to why he should be receiving what he considered to be inhumane treatment at the time. He was complaining about not getting enough sunlight, also not receiving what he used to receive. He said the conditions under which he was being treated were very, very harsh. And he did mention assaults on that complaint, if I remember correctly, that were happening as well. And then fast forward 2 years, 3 years, 4 years later, we find out that this entire time since he's been moved to Koshimampur, he's actually been confined in solitary confinement. And that was very disturbing to find out. In fact, the whole application was done with a different lawyer that was representing him. It took, I think, a good 2 weeks to get a ruling for that case. And it turns out that it was an illegal situation where he had been kept in solitary confinement for 4 years, right? And remember, we were asking whose instructions whether to keep him in solitary confinement for that long. And unfortunately, we never really got answers to such questions. And at the time, it did feel like Brigadier Kininda's name was being brought up somehow, and we didn't understand how his name is coming up when it comes to correctional services. You know, it was all weird. And now the bars, the leg irons and the pad situation, turns out that now there's a new rule that just mushroomed out of nowhere. They are saying that there's an escape that happened in another prison, but now because this escape happened in another prison, it also affects accused number 3 and number 5 only. Mind you, accused number 2 is also at Kwashimampuru. He's incarcerated there.
Yes.
But however, he has the sponges and the bar, the leg irons. Nothing has changed when it comes to him. However, when it comes to accused number 3 and accused number 5, they removed the sponges. There was an attempt, in my opinion, to try and make it seem like perhaps they were capable of maybe escaping KwaZibani. But I don't understand how, when something happens in another prison, the rules and punishments are now being imposed on people in another prison. That to me doesn't make sense. But asas. But there were a bit of red flags, Mr. Anonymous, and we're going to go over them as we go through what happened.
It doesn't make sense.
There are many red flags.
There are a lot of things that are disgusting about this whole handling. And I have to say, it has been initially made to look like the defense is the one that is wasting time. Even this Xoli, who eventually said people have been complaining about the time wastage. The guy is not even clued up of what he's talking about. How do you put someone like that on television and make him talk about a topic of such sensitive nature that is in the eyes of people through SABC? How do you have someone have comments about that?
I thought that their job was to report on what was happening in court.
No, they are putting their views. They are putting their views now. They have become their own analyst. But the problem is they don't analyze
what is
mostly
happening.
The whole thing. They analyze that snippet and they make it look like that's how the court has run the whole day.
I think he's probably the reason why I am now not so trustworthy of journalists. They can take a clip and create a total different story.
Yes.
To what actually happened. And that is scary. Okay, it's scary. It's some scary stuff right there. So accused number 3, Mthobisi MCUBE, was not in court early in the morning. Advocate George Baloyi said that there was an issue regarding the pads that they put around the ankles to minimize the impact of the leg irons. There was an instruction that they should be removed, and Mr. MCUBE had a problem with that. The judge asked why they should be removed. Baloyi said that the area commissioner issued that instruction. They don't know exactly what is the reason for that, and Baloyi said that all the accused do not have those pads around the ankles, but they were told.
So listen to the narrative. Listen to the narrative. And what is common between this narrative, these lies in court?
Yes, there are lies. He
and
lied.
then what we had on Newsroom Africa later. What's the difference? No difference.
No difference between
That's
this.
like they come from the same mother.
Yeah, what the state was putting forth and what the reporter is reporting to people that probably didn't have the whole day to look at the proceedings, and they are relying on summaries and highlights coming from a so-called reputable source of news and information. You know? So now they have a totally different perception as to what the people that were watching the entire proceedings have.
So it's like a script that went wrong, because not all, in fact, out of 5, 3 were fine. they had all the things that they have been having all the time. This one, especially, is handcuffed, and he cannot write all of a sudden if he needs to write the points that he needs to discuss with his lawyer. MNISI, rightfully so, stands up and say he cannot take instructions.
Yes.
You know, MCUBE, most of the time when there's evidence that touches him, he's on an alert. He is very, very much on an alert. He just doesn't blink. He makes sure that he covers everything. And now there is this disturbance that is happening.
So the judge asked why they should be removed to those pads, and Baloyi said that the area commissioner issued that instruction. They don't know exactly what is the reason for that. Baloyi said that all the accused do not have those pads around their ankles, but they were told just before they resumed that the situation had been addressed, and accused number 3 is en route to the Pretoria High Court. He was just explaining the delay and why the late start. So the judge asked where accused number 3 was incarcerated. Baloyi said that he was at Kgoshi-Mampuru with accused number 5 and 2. They don't have those pads. That's what he did. This was obviously a lie, because accused number 2 did have the pads on. Only accused number 5 and 3 are the ones that didn't have them on. So he was creating an impression already that everyone from Kgoshi-Mampuru didn't have those ankle pads on. The judge asked if it was a general application for the entire country, and Baloyi said yes. Again, the other accused are from different correctional facilities around Pretoria, but they had theirs on. I'm talking accused number 4 as well as accused number 1. Accused number 1 is from Modabi Prison, right? And accused number 4, I think he's also from Modabi Prison. So they had theirs on as well. But now there was this generalization to say that, oh, this is a general application for the entire country even, not just the city, the country. So it was an instruction that was issued, right, in this cold winter season. So MNISI students said that all the accused are having their leg pads on. MNISI asked that they confirm, and Ramasipili, when he came back, said that Mr. Sibia and Tanzi did have their pads on as well. And now the question becomes, why did Advocate Baloyi lie? Why did he lie like that with a straight face? Sending chills down
because
my
he,
spine.
in my own opinion, has done that in many times, even where the defense would look like these bad people that have changed what they have discussed. It was a lie. The surprises that these people come with, they would catch you off guard, and you would really, really believe that this defense is just useless and pathetic. They cannot perform their job. They are incompetent, dragging this case. That's the view that many have taken. But so it seems now, clearly, if it's not clear to you today who is wasting time, I don't know. It will never be clear then.
So Baloyi asked that they wait for accused number 3, MCUBE's arrival. And in my opinion, it feels like accused number 3 is being put through a lot at Kgoshi-Mampuru. In my opinion, there's a lot going on there pertaining to accused number 3. And I don't understand. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. So after that adjournment, Baloyi mentioned Matlala went on to say that there was an instruction issued by the area commissioner that all the prisoners from Kgoshi-Mampuru should not have pads on their leg irons. This instruction only applied to prisoners from Kgoshi-Mampuru, and he said that he was told that accused number 5, who is also incarcerated at Kgoshi-Mampuru, does not have pads on his leg irons. This decision was informed by an earlier escape by an inmate from Bavarian Sport prison.
Bavia Sport Prison.
Yes.
Sidiana Mohapi, thank you very much. God bless
It's a
you.
tongue twister. Which is a different prison to Hoshimampuru, but it's also based in Pretoria. Bavian Sport Prison. And a decision was then taken that prisoners will no longer be allowed to put pads around their ankles, because apparently what happened in that instance is that the prisoner removed the pad and then they subsequently removed the leg irons. He said that they are told that they had to physically carry accused number 3, physically lift him to take him to the vehicle. That's how he happens to be there in court. This is Mr. Matlala, who is saying that he's heading the section where accused number 3 is incarcerated at Koshimampuru. Now, I don't know what was the reason of adding this, because in my opinion, I'm like, why are you telling this to the court? And another red flag was when he spoke, the judge said he doesn't need to take an oath. I don't know how many of you noticed that. They said he didn't have to take an oath.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
That was interesting. Because if you stand there, then you are supposed to take an oath. Because what you say
in court,
it will be used eventually if there's a need. And then all of a sudden, this one, it must not take an oath.
That was very strange. So the judge
to
asked,
give his testimony.
I was perplexed. I was like, why doesn't he have to take an oath? Like, why?
Thank you very much. God bless you.
So the judge asked where Mr. Matlala was, and he asked about his latest instruction. Matlala said that the instruction was from the area commissioner, Mr. Khoza, which they received on the 12th of July 2025. That's last week. And the instruction was based on the escape that took place in Bavian Sport, where the offender had the sponge and the cuffs on top, and the offender took out the sponge and the cuff could easily get out of the leg irons. And the offender hit the official with those cuffs and he escaped. Up until today, he was never found. So they only got the instruction from their area commissioner in Koshimampuru that they should not allow offenders to put those sponges when they come to court. And the judges asked if he explained this to his inmates at Koshimampuru. Matlala said yes, he did explain to offender MCUBE at the center. And he thinks it was last week, if not last week, to say that this is the instruction and that he should just take note that when he goes to court on the 21st, they will not allow him to put the sponges when they go to court. And the response from him is that if he's not allowed to put a sponge on his leg, he won't go to court. That's what accused number 3 said. That is what he told Mr. Matlala. So the judge asked Matlala if the other inmates also adopted the same attitude, and Matlala said he is only having MCUBE from his center. So I don't understand the intention behind this question coming from the judge. And already people are like, we are Ramsugela when we're saying that he's playing for the state and whatnot. But this question, for me, in my opinion, when it was asked, allegedly playing for the state. But then, in my opinion, this question, when it was asked, it was so accusatory, It didn't sound like it was coming from a good place. I mean, how can you ask that if the other inmates adopted the same attitude? Why does it part? Why do you want to know how others are feeling? It's almost like you are seeking approval for someone else to get tortured. Just because one person is complaining, then it means just because the others are not complaining, then it is justified for this one to be treated harshly in the way that they are treated because they are the only ones complaining.
So
do you understand what I'm saying?
Because eventually he wanted to continue as if with the business as usual.
It's like, because it's one person complaining, it doesn't matter. You see, it doesn't matter, it's irrelevant.
Let's ramp up the likes, guys. Let's press the like, please. Let's press the like buttons. Like we mean it. Let's subscribe. Let's join membership. Thank you very much for those who have been gifting. God bless you guys.
Thank you, guys. Matlala said that he's only having MCUBE from his center. So he could only speak concerning MCUBE because from his center, that's the one he's responsible for. That's accused number 3, and he only addressed him. The other offenders he does not know. So the judge asked when or was this going to end, if at all, and Matlala said he didn't know when it was going to end. This whole situation of them being cuffed with leg irons in winter with no form of other material to buffer the coldness and the pain that comes with having leg irons on your skin. So the judge asked, so it's official, it's not like you are punishing anybody? And Matlala said no, but it is rather suspicious because accused number 2 had those pads on, in my opinion.
Yes.
And the judge thanked him for the explanation and asked Baloyi to continue. So he already wanted to continue. He didn't have any interest
portraying
whatsoever.
the agency that is needed by this case, and then later showing the sluggish that this case is at, the reality of where this case is.
Yes.
15 minutes tends to be 30 minutes, 30 minutes tends to be an hour. That's how this court has been. And it has been for many, 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 many years now.
Yes. MNISI asked the judge if they were not allowed to respond. The fact that MNISI even had to ask to respond.
The exclusion.
The judge said that the gentleman said that it's official. So because it's official, that's where the judge wanted it to end.
No questions asked.
Yeah. And then MNISI said it does not end up there. It could be official, but they have got a right on behalf of the accused person to respond. MNISI said that he got instructions that accused number 3 was in pain. He is unable to concentrate. MNISI said that as his legal counsel, he's unable to receive instructions from him. If the court were to insist that despite this gross violation of a human right that he's being subjected to, that this court says it can continue. He said, I wish to inform the court with due respect that I don't want to be seen to be part of that violation of the human rights of Mr. MCUBE when attending this trial, because he's not only being foot cuffed, he's also being handcuffed. Mr. Matlala does not address the issues of him being in handcuffs.
No.
When the other accused persons are not cuffed on their hands.
The man is old, man. The man is old.
And I don't know.
These gimmicks, if you ask me, allegedly. The man is very old.
And I don't know.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, TD. Thank you. And I don't know. I just felt like he was, even when he was explaining, it was like it's a jokey. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading body language wrong. But it's like, to him, it's like, this is a fun.
Oh, this is what we do with prisoners.
This is what we do with prisoners. It's like he was enjoying the fact that there's this whole situation happening. I just felt so uncomfortable. I was like, yo, wow. What a wow. Because I'm like, And then you see MCUBE, his expression, you could see that he was upset.
It is upsetting. Annoying.
And then this official, as he's explaining, we had to pull him. And the way he's speaking is so bubbly and stuff. And I'm like, hey, I don't know what to make of the situation, but it doesn't look or feel right. He says, but as I'm saying, MNISI, he said to the honorable judge, on account of the fact that Mr. MCUBE is saying he's feeling pains that affects his ability to concentrate in this trial, and I'm also unable to get instructions from him because of his inhumanity that he's being subjected to. I'm not willing to validate what he's going through by simply standing up here and pretending as if nothing is happening. Mr. MCUBE is all right with him. If this court were to say that this trial should proceed despite the complaints that he is raising, then I'm going to request that I be excused from representing Mr. MCUBE when he is in the condition that he is in. I'll only proceed to represent Mr. Sibia up until such time that Mr. MCUBE gets somebody who will represent him on the condition that he's facing right now. And I don't think there's any lawyer that will represent someone when the whole public can already see that someone is being treated a certain way, and then the lawyer now comes in and say, yes, the court can continue, I'll represent this person, and they will keep quiet and stop complaining, and I'm okay representing them when they're not giving me instructions because they are very upset. I don't know how that works. Well, the judge asked, which condition is that? He is in pains. What is wrong with him? And MNISI said that his leg chains without the sponge
isn't that how Ngomezulu was asked?
Yeah, he was asked in a very similar fashion that shows very coldness and uncaring and unbotheredness, or really to try and create a picture that it needs to be investigated because you are making it up. I don't know whether he's been in chains on a cold winter morning since he was so active in the struggle. But I don't know if he knows what that pain is like, I don't know, since he was a lawyer and stuff of PAC people during the struggle. I don't know if any of his clients back then would express and tell him what it was like to be chained in the cold with chains around your legs in a cold. I don't know if they ever told him. I don't know. But it looks like to him this is unbelievable. It's like it cannot happen that you can feel pain with chains around your legs on a cold winter morning. Yeah, it is to him it's a non-factor, I see, in my opinion. Well, he said that his leg, MNISI said that his leg chains without the sponge things are injuring him. And the judge said, let's address the question of pains. You said he's in pain. What pains him? These things are enraging.
They are.
When you think about that treatment that Ngomezulu received, you cannot now brush it over and just say, oh, the judge is just asking. It triggers something in a lot of people when they're watching, especially people who watch that whole thing and how it unfolded. So MNISI then said, but I'm addressing that, my lord. He is saying those leg irons are injuring his ankle. That is the pain that he's going through. And the judge said, I see. Let me just understand. And then he asked Baloyi when the trial started, and Baloyi said it was in February 2022.
Tsigelo Elovani, thank you very much. God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you, Ntsigelelo. Thank you. And the judge said, was he always having the cuffs? Baloyi said, I assume so, my lord. In light of the fact that the decision to have no pads underneath the foot cuffs was informed by this escape in Bavian sport. This word, my goodness. So he says, I suppose, as Mr. Matlala said, this applied from the 12th of July 2025. And in my opinion, at the time, as Mr. Baloyi was saying this, I'm like, is Mr. Matlala seeming to be the only enforcer of this rule from Koshimampuru prison? And then MNISI said, this is what Mr. MCUBE is saying, that ever since he started attending this trial, he has always been having those sponges that serve as cushion from the leg irons. So it comes as a surprise to him now that he should be told that he will no longer be wearing these things simply because somebody had escaped at Bavian sport.
Bavian sport. Hey, it's okay.
Bazalwane.
I also have my own tongue twisters.
Bavian sport.
Yeah.
I even remember, what was the other tongue twister that I used to have like 3 years ago?
What we have been going with this case.
That I have to breathe before I pronounce the word.
Yeah.
So what has the escape at Bavian sport got to do with him? Even if that's a national legislation, it's an official statement.
I like the submission by Ramsipil, by the way, which is what other advocates in that court, I think they should adopt, because I am lambasting the approach of the green black mamba. That one of saying, if my client is not affected, therefore I can chill. That shows the cracks.
Yeah.
But the problem is that you are not giving yourself enough room to maneuver on, even if they are not impacted, but do submit to show that you see what is happening to your next door. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys are here on the basis of common purpose.
Yes.
So do say something. You don't need to keep quiet just because things are looking good on your side. Submit something.
And also, Ngumalo's client has been through a lot. Remember, the sister was also complaining like 5 years ago about how black people in black attire went to his cell and assaulted him there. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Those allegations. So you don't, at the end of the day, want your client to be an easy target just because you don't want to argue.
True. You need to say something.
So even if that's a national legislation or it's an official statement, but this is unconstitutional, the constitutionality of which must be tested. And if the court again were to proceed that the manner in which the condition he is in here, he said, I'm not prepared to validate that. Otherwise, I'm going to ask that we adjourn and we bring an urgent application for that unconstitutionality of that directive to be tested.
Tobeka is savage. I mean, she just reminded you your tongue twister, which is jurisdiction.
Jurisdiction. Yeah, guys, we are good then. My legal terminologies. Jurisdiction.
Right.
Tobeka is a day one. Guys, hey, that's Buyalapaya. Every time I have to pronounce jurisdiction. Oh.
Had to remind you.
Oh, it was a disaster. It was, honestly. I even remember Colonel also. Colonel and Colonel. Those two.
Yeah, we are learning them. Yeah, but indeed, these things needs to be looked at. I mean, you can't, I'm worried about this passive position that he takes,
that Ngumalo takes
when it's not affecting his
not
client.
good. It's
Just
not safe.
submit something. I mean, you are learning. How are you gonna learn if you're sitting back? I mean, you never stop learning.
And he needs to strengthen his arguing. He needs to argue.
Ramusipire is getting even way better since the beginning.
When he started.
Even now, I think I trust him more.
Yeah.
Because of how he has been making sure that the voice is heard.
You need to